So this was an important aspect or repositioning of the companies through this mechanism. So I'm talking of IT now. Let us move to the other company. Telecom, layoffs 140 plus 60. Decision making while layoff is a negative word. Using euphemism, we can say right sizing. So for right sizing, that took 4 months to decide. So the crunch prevailed for a longer period of time. So decision making, if you are going to right size, has to be quick and has to be conveyed very well. Poor communication with what is in it for me for the employees was another sort of question mark, that when you are like perceiving. Now the question is, this is another question to be answered, that whether the crisis is perceived or it is actually there. I'll talk about this at the end of my sort of presentation. Compensation and benefits rationalized. They moved from gross to basic salaries. Then provident fund reduced a little bit. Gratuity, time span increased, gross to basic. Employee morale, bad. Delegation of power and authority was a big question mark. And then expectations management. Many people talked about this, but the actual expectation management is really difficult. Now, and then transparency, communication, and decision. Now, the interesting point during this interview was that what is the role of owner of the company versus the head of the company, head of CEO or whatever, COO. Who is the bad guy, who is the good guy? When you give this message to the masses, to the critical mass of your company, who is going to convey what? So the transparency of message is extremely important, that single message should go from top to down. And it has to be the ownership of the owner, including the other employees who are going to sort of move forward in this process. So this was the catchy point in this sort of exercise and a case study. Beverage company, absolutely no layoffs. They actually increased employees from 2,800 to 3,200. Now the question is, and the beauty of this crunch was that you have talent available in the market. Your bargaining power is changed because people have sort of lesser opportunities in the market. So you have an opportunity to get good people from the market at a lower price, and they can be retained as well. So the other thing is that now the question is that which is linked with vision and strategy of the company. If company has a vision to grow and they have very strong sort of strategy to move forward, then you give this message to your employees, and at the time of crunch, this is an opportunity. If everybody is firing, who is hiring? So this is the question mark. Salary increased, growth increased, training and development increased by 60%. Now the question is that at the time of crunch, we are talking of reducing the training and development cost. The question is that you have to increase training and development cost, because at that point in time, the urgency of training is even more than in normal circumstances. So training increased by 60%, training hours increased, training is an opportunity in crisis, because there are two things. You are helping employee grow academically, professionally, and you are helping that employee to retain, to stay sort of linked with the company. Because the question is, at the end of the day, why I joined some company? I'm looking for my own growth. What is in it for me in that? The question, if I am growing with the company, I would like to stay back. Okay, moving forward. Okay, treating people as assets, this is cliched, and main pillars are vision and strategy. So in this case study, the question was that the crunch was linked with vision and growth. You getting my point? Okay, moving to the next case study. Leading electronics company, layoffs 3 to 4%, 40 to 50. Additional fat reduced. Again, you revisited and you reduced the additional fat from your company, which is actually there in the normal circumstances, and you don't go and revisit. So what we do in the crunch time, the biggest challenge is that you go and revisit and see who is good, who is average, who is below average. In this case also, training increased by 40%. Intrinsic motivation of HR department. Now, the catch in this was that people of the HR department, they moved out of their chairs. They went to other departments, discussed with them, and they actually tried to explore. And the question was again that how to improve the employee morale in a crunch time thing. So moving out of the box and talking to people in the other departments, sometimes people don't expect. But if you are going to sort of work in such a way that you are talking about their growth in the company and outside company, I believe that people stay in those companies where HR managers and CEO of the company help that person get job somewhere else. So I'm a very strong believer that you should have that strength in your company, that you should be able to help your employee grow within your agency or maybe outside your agency. We need courage for that matter. Okay. Workforce trained and behavioral skills were more important in this situation. Communication increased by 50%. So this was another catchy point, moving out of the box and then communicate more with the people in the crisis situation. And employee engagement we have already talked about. Engineering company, overall workforce increased, but 20% reduced. 20% reduced. Again, we are talking of additional fat from the company. Performance evaluation, good, retained, average below. Now, it is easy to right size below average people, but it is very difficult to right size average people because they think that they are good and company perceives, or maybe out of those performance evaluations, you gather that they are average. How to handle this? This is an employee morale issue because it will also hurt your good employees. So you have to be very, very careful on this. How they handled is a case study to be learned. Okay. On the training and development part, again, the lesson is go in-house more. But for executives and higher managers, you have to go for external trainings. They are more strategic. They are more sort of customized to the requirement of target audience. Strategy, business paradigm. Again, in case of beverage company, vision and strategy drove the company, and they moved from, so they've diversified, they changed their employees, then they worked on their growth. And here, again, they moved from local to overseas. No change in compensation, and again, expectation management. So how they handle this? Management development company, no layoffs, 9 people and sort of hired, focus on growth and strategy, expansion. So we are talking of moving training to in-house strategy. We are talking of diversification. We are talking of business strategy. We are talking of communication. We are talking of moving out of the box. Lessons. Reduce additional fat. Revisit company and hiring strategy. Easy to find and retain good talent. Communicate. Very important. Rationalized your and share why part, very important. More important in crisis, training and development, reduce external trainings, explore internal talent, based on business growth and strategy, change focus of HR department, outreach, expectation management. Now, before concluding, I'll talk about the external part. We talk about our competitors. We're talking about, we have those fears of our employees to be snatched by somebody else. Why we are carrying those fears? To me, it is not an issue of HR management. It is an issue of fear of losing. It is an issue of networking. It is an issue of trust building. To me, networking is something, if I am in beverages and my friend is also in beverages, can't we sit down and have a specific trust building? Can't we go and, because the problem is that we perceive and feel that cake is small. We are talking of slice of the pie all the times. Why not